The human mind can be easily paralyzed by the sweet poison of a beautifully crafted sentence, but your biology will always recognize the silent, terrifying approach of a predator. There is a profound, aching exhaustion that settles deep into the human bones when dealing with a manipulator. Perhaps you are carrying that heavy weight right now, trapped in the chaos. Perhaps it is a dark memory from a battle you have already survived. Or perhaps you are simply a student of human nature, sharpening your mind to spot the predator before they ever cross your gates. But whether it is a present reality, a past scar, or a future warning, the visceral confusion is exactly the same. Trying to translate the erratic behavior of someone whose words softly whisper, "I love you," while their physical presence violently screams, "I own you." You replay their promises over and over in your mind, desperately trying to make the math work, trying to find a shred of logic in the absolute chaos of their actions. You ask yourself constantly, how did I not see this coming? How was I so blind to the monster hiding behind the mask? I'm here to look you in the eyes and tell you a profound truth. You did not fail to see the signs. You were never blind. The failure did not happen in your biological perception. It happened in your societal conditioning. Let us examine the magnificent, complex architecture of your own anatomy. When you first encountered this toxic entity, your prefrontal cortex, the highly evolved, logical, and linguistic center of your brain, was immediately hijacked. They flooded your mind with charming words, calculated compliments, and a perfectly engineered narrative designed to bypass your intellectual defenses. But long before your conscious brain could process a single syllable of their vocabulary, your enteric nervous system, the ancient, vast network of hundreds of millions of neurons lining your gut, often referred to by science as your second brain, had already decoded their true energetic signature. In the very first millisecond of physical proximity, your gut sent a violent, visceral alarm directly to your heart. A sudden, heavy knot, an inexplicable drop in temperature, a subtle tightening in your chest that made you want to step backward. You felt it, you knew it, but you instantly suppressed it. You ignored the alarm because modern society has systematically domesticated us to worship hollow words, to prioritize social politeness, and to apologize for the profound, ancestral intelligence of our own flesh. You were taught to give them the benefit of the doubt, completely ignoring the fact that your biology was screaming at you to run. Today, we are going to permanently burn down the theater of their deception. I am going to give you a comprehensive masterclass in the ancient and scientific art of reading the silent language of the manipulator. We will decode the 5 secret biological codes that narcissists, psychopaths, and predators leak through their physical vessels. Codes they absolutely cannot hide, no matter how intelligent or disciplined they believe they are. You must anchor your mind, ground your energy, and pay absolute, unbroken attention to every phase of this discourse, because the 5th code is the most lethal psychological illusion ever designed. It is the exact, devastating biological trap where 99% of highly empathetic, intelligent people completely lose their grip on reality and surrender their sanity. If you are ready to stop listening to the lies and start seeing the absolute truth, step into the silence with me now. To master the art of exposing the predator, we must first understand how they camouflage themselves in the light of day. The greatest and most common weapon of a toxic individual is not the overt threat, it is the masterful illusion of reflection. We enter the realm of the physical facade. Consider the first secret biological code, the asymmetry of the fake mirror. To recognize the counterfeit, you must first deeply understand the genuine article. When two healthy, authentic human beings interact, their bodies engage in a beautiful, invisible, and completely involuntary biological dance. In the realm of interpersonal neurobiology, this is known as limbic synchrony. It is a state where the nervous systems of two people harmonize. Your breathing aligns. Your posture naturally and fluidly reflects theirs. Your heart rates begin to beat in a complementary rhythm. It is a mutual exchange of vital energy, a closing of the electromagnetic circuit that leaves both individuals feeling deeply nourished, understood, and emotionally safe. But a predator does not seek limbic synchrony because they possess a profoundly damaged limbic system. They are chronically empty. They cannot organically connect to your soul, so they must mechanically hack your biology. They execute a tactic of aggressive physical mirroring. They will sit exactly as you sit. They will cross their legs the exact moment you cross yours. They will artificially modulate the pitch and cadence of their voice to perfectly match your own. They are intentionally triggering the mirror neurons in your brain, forcing your system to release a massive flood of dopamine and oxytocin, the neurochemicals of profound trust and bonding. They want you to look at them and think, "This is my soulmate. We are perfectly aligned." But you must observe the physical form of the manipulator with the cold, calculating eye of a Shaolin master. True limbic synchrony is fluid, warm, and effortless. Predatory mirroring is rigid, calculated, and slightly delayed. It is mechanical. Think of the chameleon in the deep jungle. The chameleon changes its cellular pigmentation to perfectly match the colors of the leaves and the bark of the trees around it. But the chameleon does not mimic the beauty of the forest to admire the forest. It steals the colors of its environment for one single, lethal purpose: to become completely invisible to the insect it is about to ambush and devour. The narcissist is the chameleon. They are stealing your physical mannerisms, your empathy, and your emotional colors, not to connect with you, but to become completely invisible to your threat detection system. To break this illusion, you must look closely at the micro movements of their face. This brings us to the ultimate scientific validation of the fake mirror. In the groundbreaking, decades-long research conducted by Dr. Paul Ekman on universal human facial expressions, science discovered that the human face is incapable of keeping a secret. The face leaks suppressed, authentic emotions in a fleeting window of 1/25th of a second, entirely bypassing the conscious control of the manipulator. We call these micro-expressions. When the toxic individual is pretending to be your perfect mirror, when they are showering you with fake praise, look at their smile. A genuine, authentic smile of joy, known in neurology as the Duchenne smile, involuntarily engages the orbicularis oculi muscle, the complex ring of muscle fibers surrounding the eyes. The skin crinkles. The eyes physically narrow. The joy is undeniable because it is neurologically impossible to perfectly fake without actually feeling the corresponding warmth. The predator's smile is a chilling, isolated mechanical movement. The mouth curves upward, showing teeth, but the eyes remain completely dead, dark, unmoving. It is a mask of pure manipulation. But even more revealing is the micro-tension of contempt. When you assert your boundaries, or when you share a moment of personal triumph that threatens their fragile superiority, watch the muscles around their mouth. For one fraction of a second, you will see a highly specific, asymmetrical tightening. One corner of their mouth will pull sharply upward and tighten. Dr. Ekman's research proved that this asymmetrical pull is the universal biological signature of contempt. It is the physical manifestation of absolute superiority and disgust. It flashes across their face just milliseconds before they force that hollow, dead smile and offer you a backhanded compliment designed to secretly diminish your light. When you see that asymmetrical twitch, your blood will run cold. Your vital life force, your qi, will instinctively retract. Do not ignore that chill. Do not rationalize their expression as a quirk or a momentary lapse. You have just witnessed the mask slip. You have just seen the true, terrifying face of the entity sitting across from you. They are not your mirror. They are a bottomless void, looking for a host to consume. We have stepped out of the psychological theater and into the physical battlefield. The fake mirror has been shattered, and the predator now realizes that their charm and artificial reflection are no longer sufficient to control your perception. When a toxic entity cannot absorb your identity, their primal instinct dictates that they must physically dominate it. This brings us to the second secret biological code, the geometry of subjugation. In the ancient martial arts of Shaolin and deeply rooted in traditional Chinese medicine, we study the concept of Wei Qi. This translates to the guardian energy. It is not merely a philosophical metaphor. It is a literal biomagnetic perimeter that radiates just beyond the surface of your skin. It is the sovereign border of your personal sanctuary. A healthy, emotionally regulated human being unconsciously senses this border in others. They approach your gates, they stop at a respectful distance, and they wait for an invitation to enter your intimate space. A manipulator does not ask for an invitation. They intentionally breach the perimeter. This physical invasion is rarely overtly violent in the beginning. It is disguised as extreme comfort, clumsiness, or an intense desire for closeness. But make no mistake, it is a highly calculated, stealthy reconnaissance mission. Watch the geometry of their physical presence. They will stand just 2 or 3 inches too close to you in a hallway, violating the universal human boundary of personal space. If you are sitting down, they will stand directly over you, using their vertical height and physical mass to cast a heavy, dominating shadow over your nervous system. They will casually pick up your phone, drink from your cup, or sit on your desk without asking. To the untrained, overly empathetic mind, this is rationalized as a lack of social awareness. You must incinerate that rationalization right now. Predators in the wild do not lack spatial awareness. Their spatial awareness is the most highly developed weapon in their biological arsenal. When a toxic individual invades your physical territory, they are executing a precise neurobiological test. They are intentionally triggering your amygdala, the fear center of your brain, to see exactly how your nervous system will handle a breach of boundaries. When a foreign entity steps into your intimate space uninvited, your body instantly releases a spike of cortisol. You feel a sudden rush of discomfort. Your heart rate slightly elevates. Your primitive brain demands action. Fight, flight, or fawn. The narcissist is watching your micro-reactions closely. Will you stand your ground? Will you look them in the eye and firmly establish your space? Or will you execute the trauma response of fawning? Will you politely take a step backward, yielding your physical ground to avoid a confrontation? Will you offer a nervous laugh and make yourself smaller to accommodate their dominating presence? If you take that step back, the trap closes. You have just handed them the keys to your psychological fortress. By yielding your physical territory without a fight, you send a massive, undeniable signal to their predatory brain. My boundaries are flexible. I'm willing to sacrifice my own comfort and safety just to keep the peace. The narcissist feeds on this dynamic. They want you physically compressed because a human being who is physically compressed cannot expand their lungs, and a human being who cannot breathe deeply cannot access the clarity and power of their sovereign mind. You must view this territorial invasion through the lens of psychological Aikido. The physical space around your body is sacred. When the predator moves in to test the waters, you must absolutely refuse to shrink. Do not yield a single inch of your physical ground to appease their broken ego. When they step too close, hold your position. Anchor your feet firmly into the earth. Drop your center of gravity deep into your dantian, the energetic core located just below your navel. Look them directly in the eyes with a freezing, unapologetic stillness. You do not need to raise your voice. You do not need to push them away. You simply need to become an unmovable mountain of dense, solid reality. Let the heavy, uncomfortable silence stretch between you. When the predator realizes that their calculated invasion has met a wall of stone, the power dynamic instantly shifts. They will eventually take a step back. You have guarded the temple. But defending the perimeter is only the gross physical battle. What happens when the predator realizes they cannot physically intimidate you? They retreat into the shadows and seek to drain you in the moments when your walls naturally come down. They wait for your moments of vulnerability. This leads us to the third secret biological code, respiratory dissonance. In the ancient practices of Qigong, we are taught that the breath is the absolute master of the physical vessel. The breath cannot lie. It is the direct bridge between the conscious mind and the unconscious biology. If you want to know a person's true internal state, if you want to know their deepest, most hidden intentions, you do not listen to the hollow words falling from their mouth. You listen to the rhythmic rise and fall of their lungs. Imagine a moment of profound, shattering vulnerability in your life. Perhaps you are grieving a massive loss. You are physically exhausted, or you are weeping from the sheer, crushing weight of their endless psychological games. You are broken open. In a healthy, authentic dynamic, human mammals possess a magnificent biological survival mechanism designed exactly for these moments. According to the foundational principles of polyvagal theory, pioneered by Dr. Stephen Porges, our autonomic nervous systems are constantly scanning our environment for safety and co-regulation. When a healthy, empathetic person sees someone they love crying in agony, their ventral vagal complex immediately activates. Their own heart rate may initially spike in sympathetic distress, but then, automatically and involuntarily, they will take a deep, slow, resonant breath to ground themselves. By mere physical proximity, their calm, stabilized biology acts as an anchor for your chaotic biology. Their breath becomes the solid harbor for your violent storm. Now look closely at the toxic individual during your moment of deepest despair. Go to them for comfort. Lay your head against their chest. Listen to the machinery inside them. You will experience a terrifying, chilling biological dissonance. Their breathing does not slow down. It does not deepen into the lower abdomen to anchor the heavy emotional space. Instead, their breath remains incredibly shallow, rapid, and high in the chest. Their heart rate does not enter a state of compassionate rest. It remains elevated, buzzing with a sharp, vibrating state of arousal. Why? Because they are not co-regulating with a wounded partner. They are a predator observing a wounded prey. To the dark architecture of the narcissistic mind, your tears are not a desperate call for human connection. Your tears are the absolute, intoxicating confirmation of their ultimate power over you. Your emotional collapse is the undeniable proof that they have successfully dismantled your defenses. The shallow, alert breathing you hear in their chest is the biological excitement of the hunter who has finally cornered the deer in the snow. They're getting high on the cortisol and adrenaline that is currently flooding your system. They will offer you a tissue. They will gently pat your back. They will whisper the correct, socially acceptable words of comfort. But the biological engine inside their chest is vibrating with the cold thrill of total dominance. Your nervous system, ancient and wise, feels this dissonance immediately. You cry in their arms, but instead of feeling safe, you feel an inexplicable, creeping dread. You feel more profoundly alone in their embrace than you do sitting by yourself in an empty room. Do not ignore the breath. The lungs cannot lie about the true intentions of the heart. Their respiratory dissonance is the ultimate proof that your pain is their pleasure. We have observed the rigid asymmetry of their fake smile. We have defended the sovereign perimeter of our Wei Qi against their calculated territorial invasions. We have listened to the terrifying, shallow rhythm of their lungs during our deepest moments of sorrow. But there is another layer to this parasitic extraction, one that occurs in plain sight, disguised as the ultimate act of human affection. This brings us to the fourth secret biological code, the ghost touch. To the uninitiated mind, human physical contact is merely the mechanical collision of skin, muscle, and bone. But in the advanced studies of both ancient Taoist energy cultivation and modern quantum biology, touch is recognized as a profound, scientifically measurable exchange of bioelectricity. The human heart is not just a biological pump. It generates the largest electromagnetic field in the entire physical body, radiating outward and constantly interacting with the energetic fields of those around us. When a mother holds her crying child, or when two authentic, vulnerable individuals embrace, there is a symmetrical, beautiful exchange of vital energy, what we call qi. The circuit is securely closed, and both physical vessels are nourished, illuminated, and recharged by the connection. But what exactly happens to your biology when you embrace a void? You have felt this. Think about the times the toxic individual wraps their arms around you or casually holds your hand as you walk down the street. On the surface, it is a cinematic display of romance, friendship, or familial love. But pay absolute, unbroken attention to what happens the exact moment the physical contact breaks. You do not feel loved. You do not feel energized, grounded, or safe. Instead, you feel unbelievably heavy. You experience a sudden, inexplicable exhaustion, as if a thick, dark gray fog has suddenly settled over your cognitive pathways. Your shoulders physically slump. You feel an urgent, desperate biological need to sleep, to disconnect from the world, to hide in a quiet, dark room just to recover your senses. This is the ghost touch. It is the undeniable physical manifestation of parasitic extraction. In the brutal, uncompromising reality of the natural world, consider the strangler fig. It is a parasitic vine that begins its life in the high canopy of a magnificent, ancient host tree. To the untrained eye walking through the jungle, the vine appears to be lovingly hugging the tree, supporting its massive trunk and beautifully decorating it with fresh, vibrant leaves. But beneath the bark, hidden entirely from the light, the vine is relentlessly driving its roots directly into the host's vascular system. It is silently siphoning the water and essential nutrients. It will continue to drain the host until the great tree completely withers, dies, and rots away into the earth, leaving only the hollow, twisted, empty shell of the parasite standing victorious in its place. The manipulator is the strangler fig. Because they have completely severed their own connection to authenticity, because their internal emotional landscape is a barren, terrifying, loveless wasteland, they are fundamentally incapable of generating their own life force. They must harvest it from those who shine brightly. When they touch you, they are not offering you their warmth. They are violently plugging their empty, starving biology directly into your vital reserves. They are actively siphoning your high-frequency energy, your empathy, your brilliant light, your boundless resilience, and replacing it with a dense, heavy, stagnant shadow. You must absolutely stop rationalizing your physical exhaustion. You are not just tired from a long day at work. You're not just stressed by the daily demands of life. You are suffering from acute energetic hemorrhaging, the chronic fatigue, the sudden brain fog, the mysterious, unexplained autoimmune flare-ups that relentlessly plague victims of narcissistic abuse. These are not random medical coincidences. Your body is literally breaking down because you are funding two human existences on a single biological battery. You are funding their artificial superiority with your own cellular health. Your body is desperately screaming at you that the entity holding your hand is actively consuming the marrow of your spirit. A sovereign being must fiercely guard the heavy iron gates of their physical vessel. You must reclaim your bio-sovereignty today. If a touch leaves you drained, if a hug feels like a cold transaction rather than a sacred offering, you must have the brutal, unflinching courage to break the physical circuit. Withdraw your hand. Step backward out of the embrace. Do not offer your sacred chi to a bottomless pit. Now, Imagine the state of the battlefield. You have ruthlessly cut off the parasitic supply. You have stopped playing the physical dance of the fake mirror. You have guarded your territorial perimeter against their subjugation. And you have refused to offer your vital energy to the ghost touch. The toxic individual is now energetically starving. The intricate mask they have worn for months, or perhaps years, is severely fracturing under the heavy weight of your newly established sovereignty. It is precisely in this desperate moment of psychological starvation that the predator will execute their most devastating, terrifying, and masterfully disguised illusion. They will unleash the storm of the century, but they will absolutely not stand in the rain. We now cross the final, most dangerous threshold of the labyrinth. We must confront the fifth secret biological code, the calm of the abyss. This is the absolute apex of psychological deception. It is the lethal, invisible trap where 99% of highly intelligent, empathetic human beings find their absolute ruin because it directly weaponizes your own logic, your own empathy, and your own emotional regulation against you. Imagine the climax of a severe conflict. The manipulator has just executed a massive, calculated psychological strike. They have deployed a devastating smear campaign, completely twisted your memories of a shared event, or blatantly accused you of the exact toxic behavior that they themselves are currently committing. You are trapped in a suffocating, disorienting web of gaslighting. Your fundamental sanity is being violently put on trial. In response, your biology does exactly what it was brilliantly designed to do in order to ensure your survival. Your amygdala detects a lethal threat to your identity and your social standing. It immediately floods your bloodstream with massive, overwhelming waves of cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate skyrockets. Your chest burns. Your hands tremble with the agonizing, unbearable injustice of their lies. You raise your voice. You desperately present timelines, undeniable facts, and perfect logic. You are fighting with every single ounce of your vital energy to make them understand the truth. You are burning alive in the raging fire of cognitive dissonance. Now, I want you to stop defending yourself for one fraction of a second. Look directly at the physical body of the manipulator sitting across from you. Observe the absolute, chilling terror of their biology. While you are hyperventilating, drowning in a physiological storm, their body is perfectly, terrifyingly still. They are casually leaning back in their chair. Their shoulders are relaxed. Their breathing is slow, steady, and entirely undisturbed. Their heart rate has not elevated by a single beat. In fact, in the darkest manifestations of narcissistic and psychopathic traits, neurophysiological studies have documented a terrifying phenomenon known as conflict bradycardia. Their heart rate actually slows down and becomes highly regulated during a high-stakes emotional confrontation. They are entirely at peace inside the chaos they just manufactured. To the empathetic mind, this biological reality is completely incomprehensible. You look at their relaxed posture and your brain short-circuits. You think to yourself, why are they so calm? Am I the crazy one? If I am the one yelling, crying, and losing my mind, and they are sitting there perfectly still, maybe I am the abuser. Maybe I'm the one who is emotionally unstable and out of control. You must incinerate this profound illusion immediately. You are not out of control, you are simply bleeding, and they are not peaceful. They are feeding. Observe the spider in the exact center of its web. When a powerful, flying insect hits the silk and begins to thrash violently, fighting desperately for its life, does the spider panic? Does the spider's heart race with anxiety? No. The spider sits in the dark, perfectly still, experiencing the deep biological satisfaction of a successful hunt. The spider is exceptionally calm because the violent vibration of the web tells it that the prey is rapidly exhausting its own metabolic energy. The predator does not need to physically fight you. They just need to sit back and watch you defeat yourself. When a toxic individual sits in eerie, relaxed silence while you desperately defend your character, they are not listening to your words. They do not care about your facts. They are taking pure biological pleasure in your destruction. They are experiencing a massive, intoxicating release of dopamine triggered entirely by the fact that they possess the absolute power to make you lose control of your own nervous system. Your frantic, desperate energy is the exact currency that funds their artificial superiority. They will look at you with cold, dead eyes, their heart rate perfectly stable, and they will say in a flat, monotone voice, "Look at how emotional you are right now. You are acting crazy. This is why we can never communicate." This is the ultimate silent execution. They are using the biological calmness of their own psychopathy to frame your normal, healthy neurological reaction to severe abuse as a mental illness. They create the storm, and then they penalize you for getting wet. When you witness this terrifying calm, when you finally realize that your frantic tears and your desperate logic do not elevate their heart rate by a single fraction, you must make a radical, irreversible decision. You must realize that you cannot logic your way out of a spider's web. Every single word you speak, every tear you shed, every frantic 1,000-word paragraph you text them to defend your honor is just another violent vibration on the silk. You must stop funding their dopamine system with your pain. You must learn the ancient, terrifying martial art of offering the predator absolutely nothing to strike. We must forge the ultimate defense, the Shaolin disconnect. To understand this mastery, we look to the ancient Taoist principle of Wu Wei, the art of action through non-action. To the modern, highly domesticated mind, non-action looks like weakness. It looks like surrender. But in the realm of advanced psychological combat, it is the highest, most lethal form of efficiency. Imagine standing in a silent courtyard. A heavy, brutal aggressor lunges at you, throwing a massive, violent strike aimed directly at your chest. If you meet their fist with your own rigid bones, the impact will shatter you both. The aggressor is entirely dependent on your physical resistance to complete the circuit of their power. They absolutely need you to block. But what happens if, at the exact fraction of a second before impact, you simply step off the center line? What happens if you offer them absolutely nothing to hit? You become empty space. The aggressor's own massive, uncontrolled momentum pulls them forward into the void, and they collapse heavily into the dirt, defeated entirely by the weight of their own kinetic energy. You did not break their arm, their own unmanaged chaos broke them. You must apply this exact, uncompromising physical law to the psychological mind games of the narcissist. When they launch a covert insult, a massive guilt trip, or a twisted narrative, they are throwing a heavy punch. They expect the rigid bone of your defense. They expect you to passionately justify your actions. You must execute the Shaolin disconnect by becoming the mist. A manipulator can possess the sharpest, most cruel sword in the world. They can swing it with lethal precision, attempting to sever your self-esteem and your sanity. But if you have transmuted your solid, reactive ego into empty space, into the mist, the sword simply passes right through you. The mist cannot be cut, it cannot be wounded, it simply parts for the blade and instantly reforms, completely undisturbed by the exhausting swing of the attacker. But be warned, when a starving predator realizes that their sword is striking empty space, they do not simply pack up their weapons and walk away peacefully. In the realm of behavioral psychology, there is a highly documented phenomenon known as an extinction burst. When a parasite is suddenly denied its primary food source, their central nervous system goes into acute withdrawal. Their amygdala registers your sudden non-reaction as a lethal threat to their ego. The manipulator will frantically turn every single dial on their psychological control panel, desperately searching for the one frequency that still makes you vibrate. They will hurl the most vicious, calculated insults they have ever constructed. They will launch smear campaigns, hoping that the sheer pressure of public misunderstanding will force you to step out of the empty space and defend your honor. To survive the extinction burst without losing a single drop of your qi, you must fundamentally change how you perceive the manipulator. You must stop looking at them as a powerful, calculating mastermind. Consider the ancient, terrifying power of a deep, fast-flowing river. Imagine a madman standing waist-deep in the rushing water. In a fit of absolute hysteria, he draws a heavy steel sword and begins hacking violently at the river. He strikes with all his might, screaming at the water to bleed, demanding that the river submit to his blade. The sword slices through the surface with lethal speed, but the exact fraction of a second the blade passes, the water seamlessly closes behind it. The river does not fight the sword. It does not feel insulted by the madman. It simply flows, eternal, dense, and unbothered. The harder the madman swings, the faster he burns his own cellular energy. Eventually, his lungs will burn for oxygen. He will drop the sword, completely exhausted, and collapse into the water, defeated entirely by his own frantic energy. And the river will simply continue to flow, exactly as it did before he arrived. You must become the river. Let them exhaust themselves trying to cut the water. And as the chaotic noise of the battlefield finally fades into a heavy, intimidating silence, you will face one final, devastating trap. Defeating the physical manipulator is only the outer layer of the war. To achieve absolute, irreversible freedom, you must confront the parasite that lives inside your own mind. You must perform the silent execution. Your primitive ego is absolutely terrified of being misunderstood. It demands a cinematic ending. It demands the last word. It demands that the predator looks you in the eye and confesses that you were right all along. This is the exact coordinate where highly intelligent minds fail. If you send that final message to prove your point, you have not executed the manipulator. You have resurrected them. You have voluntarily walked right back into the labyrinth and vibrated the web. The silent execution requires the brutal, unapologetic assassination of your own pride. You must let the manipulator believe they won. You must let them walk away, telling a fabricated story where they are the innocent victim and you are the villain. Why? Because the sovereign mind understands a profound thermodynamic truth. The word of a parasite has absolutely zero currency in the empire of a king. Imagine a brutal game of tug-of-war on the edge of a massive, dark abyss. The manipulator is pulling with all their might, trying to drag you into the darkness. You dig your heels into the dirt, pulling back with your logic, your empathy, and your desperate desire for the truth. You are burning massive amounts of your vital life force just to hold your ground. You believe that winning means pulling them across the abyss and forcing them to see the light. But you do not win the tug-of-war by pulling harder. You win by simply opening your hands. You drop the rope. The exact fraction of a second you let go, the manipulator's own massive, unmanaged tension sends them violently tumbling backward into their own abyss. And you're left standing on the edge, completely free, your hands empty, your breathing slow, and your energy entirely reclaimed. I know the exact crushing weight of the invisible scars you carry. I know the profound, agonizing exhaustion of spending years of your biological lifespan acting as a translator for a ghost. You have bled your own soul dry trying to reason with absolute insanity. You have maintained the peace in environments where the people around you breathed only war. You sacrificed your own sleep, your own boundaries, and your own vital energy to navigate a labyrinth designed to break you. You were handed a magnificent, high-performance biological vessel capable of bending reality, and you were tricked into using it as an emotional anchor for a sinking ship. But the era of your compliance is permanently dead. You have learned the silent language of the physical facade. You have shattered the fake mirror, guarded your perimeter, and starved the ghost touch. You have become the river, offering empty space to the striking blade. And you have performed the ultimate agonizing sacrifice of dropping the rope. You are no longer a participant in their pathetic game. You are the silent, untouchable architect of your own empire. So, I leave you with one final, visceral reality to confront as the screen fades to black and you return to the heavy noise of your life. Tomorrow morning, or a month from now, a new entity will enter your space. Or perhaps, the ghost from your past will attempt to knock on the iron gates of your mind. The bait will be cast. A subtle provocation, an unexpected message, a perfectly engineered physical mirror designed to drag you back into the mud. When that invisible alarm echoes through the silent courtyard of your consciousness, when your gut tightens and your ancient biology whispers the truth, who exactly is the entity that will stand at the gates? Will you descend into the dirt to defend your fragile pride and fight for the last word, bleeding your vital energy into the void? Or will you trust the undeniable truth of your own flesh, execute the absolute, terrifying silence, drop the rope, and leave them fighting against the empty wind? The choice is yours. The path is open. Namo Amituofo.